Hello everyone, welcome to Keystone Academia. Myself, Misbah Saudagar, I am CIMA qualified and part qualified ACCA. Today, we'll be taking you through the pre-scene analysis of CIMA Strategic Case Study exam for the month of May and August 2023. All right, guys. So here we are with the pre-scene for strategic case study examination, May and August 2023. The company is called DAISTRUK. As we can see from the logo, here we are talking about transportation, right? So this is a logistic company. Okay. Before starting into that, CIMA has been giving this statement, context statement since 2020. So the reason for that is we have to assume that there is no issues such as COVID-19, war, or anything uncertain going on in the market, because as we assume, CIMA is trying to reflect a real world scenario. So if we understood that there is a lockdown or there is a restrictions on free movement of people, or there are any issues related to war or anything going on, so the entire scenario might change. So we have to assume that there are normally the world is going on. Okay, but in the case if you want to put some examples which can be relevant, definitely that will got awards. Okay. So this pre-scene is similar to the past pre-scene, where we'll start with the introduction of our role into the company, what we are doing, what is expected from us. Then we'll start with the logistics industries. Then we'll jump into the DAISTRUK, our business, when it was founded, how it came forward, followed by annual report, board of directors, risk, financial statements, and share prices. And it will conclude with the news stories. Okay, so let's get started. We'll go with the introduction. DAISTRUK is a quoted company that offers all logistics services. So as we can see, DAISTRUK is a quoted company. Quoted company means listed company. Listed companies are those which are taking money from the public, right? So there will be a lot of difference between how company operates as being a listed company or unlisted company. They will have their own set of advantages and disadvantages. If I start with the advantages of being a listed company, it might be we have easier access to finance. We have more trust built up from the people because we have been taken care by the scrutiny of the government authorities. Like if you talk in UK perspective, we have Financial Conduct Authority. Okay. Another kind of advantages for a listed company is better reputation in the market. A lot of people or access to good employees. They'll be happy to work for a company which is quoted, which has better reputation in the market, which is sustainable, which is having better corporate governance. On the flip side of it, if you're talking about some of the downside of being a quoted company, it might be more scrutiny. If you are a listed company, you are mandated to have an internal audit. You are mandated to have a board. You are mandated to have non-executive directors, and a lot of other things come in place, which can be a problem or a hurdle for many times for a company to operate freely. Later on, other type of downside for a listed company can be if we have any issues or any risk, any rumors, our share price can quickly react to it. So sometimes the issues or news are not actually real, or what's happening in the market, even that will affect our share price. And we have to be very careful with maintaining the share price, because ultimately that can be the valuation of the business. That will show the value of the business to the owners. Who are the owners of the business? Are shareholders. Okay. So DAISTRUK is a quoted company that offers all logistics services. So logistics service is what? If you go with the basic meaning of logistics, logistic is all about moving of goods or transportation of goods from one place to another for the purpose of commerce or purpose of businesses. Logistic is a primary industry which is a part of a supply chain across industries. In this logistic industry, we will be part of different industry, from as basic as FMCG industry to as different as real estate to automobiles to constructions and everywhere. So this can be a backbone for a lot of industries. And I also believe this topic has been taken by CIMA. One of the reason can be the recent disruptions we have seen, because last 2-3 years have been very much uncertain, and we know how industries have been facing a lot of disruption in their supply chain. So companies are now thinking seriously how they can improve their supply chain, obviously through logistics, create more value, have a better risk management to have a sustainable business. Next, you are a senior manager in DAISTRUK finance function. So as we know, this exam is a role play. Senior manager, or we can even call it senior finance manager. Senior finance manager is a person who is reporting to the board. So in this case, we'll be reporting to the finance director or chief financial officer. Okay, that means you have to showcase leadership skill. You have to showcase people skill as you are sitting at the top pyramid of the organization. You report directly to the board. So board will constitute of what? Being a listed company, you should have a balance of non-executive directors and executive directors chaired by the chairperson. And advise on special projects and strategic matters. So there is some difference between special projects and strategic matters. Special projects is something which we are doing out of our normal routine or day-to-day operations. For example, if tomorrow DAISTRUK is saying we want to go into the new market, that can be a special project. If you want to launch a new service, that can be a special project. Whereas strategic matters is the normal working of a business. For example, if we have any issues with any committees, let's say we have some problem with the audit committee, we have to handle it. Let's say we have any issues with our remuneration, or we want to change certain policies, that will all go into strategic matters. However, whatever is special project today, once it is done and integrated into the business, will become a strategic matters. So we have to be proactively planning. We'll keep you guided. What are the special projects we can predict that DAISTRUK will be doing in the future, or they can do in the future? And what are the strategic matters we have to be careful that can be a part of the exams? Okay. If you analyze the pre-scene properly, even in the previous pre-scene, we have seen that it gives a lot of hints already in the pre-scene, what can be the unseen. So collecting that hints, we can come up with the strategic matters and special projects. All right. DAISTRUK is based in Roundland, is a fictional country, a developed country that has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. So again, being a developed country can have its own advantages and disadvantages for a company. Mostly in logistic company, the biggest challenge is infrastructure. So if you are a developed country, mostly you will have a good infrastructure. Infrastructure will add a very good value to the logistic services. Infrastructure includes your road connectivity, rail connectivity, your ports, your airports, all four of this. And another advantages of a developed country can be easier access to finance, good economy or stable economy. Then you can have access to good employees. You know, the education should be good usually in these countries. And if you talk about downside from DAISTRUK perspective, some of them can be taxes are high comparatively, rules and regulations are very strict. Okay, labor laws like minimum wages, health and safety can be very strict. And nowadays, as you know, that the stakeholders expectation from the business is increasing. They're not looking only at the financial aspect of it. They also want the business to be socially responsible and environmentally responsible. So that also we have to be very careful when we are suggesting any new strategy or recommendation. Then that has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. It means whenever there is something in the market, the share price will reflect to it. If you are acquiring certain company, things become public, maybe share price can go up, whatever their perception is. And vice versa, if there is any reputational risk or any other problem, share price can go down. Roundland's currency is R dollar. Again, we can just assume this equal to US dollar. Basically, in strategic level, we don't have any calculation, so no need to worry how much it is. Roundland requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with international financial reporting standards. So we are working according to IFRS. This will help us when we analyze the financial statement. This is an advantage for the company when we are comparing this with other companies within Roundland and outside Roundland also. Now we'll move to the second part. So basically here we are getting introduced to the industry. We'll see here what is logistics, how logistic works, and some basic terminologies. Okay. Logistic is a broad term that encompasses the process of managing the flow of goods, ensuring that they reach their intended destination on time. So as we discussed in the start also, logistic means just flow of goods or managing or transportation of goods from place A to place B. What is the most important thing here is time. As we see, there are 4 modes of logistics: airways, roadways, railways, and through ships. Deciding on the time and the cost, most of the companies will decide which one to choose. For example, if it is perishable goods and if it is international travel, they might go for airways. If it is non-perishable goods and if it is something like coal and all, they might go to railways. Why? Because it can be the cheapest option. It depends what type of industry we are doing it. We all are related to this industry directly or indirectly. I will request you to just see how we are connected to logistics. Whatever you are ordering, from ordering your products from Amazon or ordering something from an international seller, we are a stakeholder of logistics. Logistics includes the planning, implementation, and control required to ensure the safe and efficient management of that flow, as well as the physical transportation of materials and products. So logistics is a very broad concept. You need a proper planning for that. Every logistic company will know how much property, plant, and equipment they need, what are their prospective customers, what are their needs and requirements, and how to implement that. And there are a lot of risk in this industry because it is more outgoing. Okay, so controlling here, you might need to have different level of internal controls to manage the risk, to ensure the safe and efficient management. Safety of the products, safety of your own employees, safety of our stakeholders. Okay, so here technology will play a very important role. We'll see in the later pages how an application, how an technology, how big data, all of this can be a game changer and how it can be helpful for us to grow as a business. Most logistics system involve the following. First is inbound logistics, that is from the supplier. Second is outbound logistics, that is to the customer. So as we understand in our business, we are not certainly manufacturing anything. We are just taking things from the supplier, or we can even call them raw materials at times, and we are giving to the businesses, factories. Okay, and businesses or factories, they will do their internal logistics. Mostly this is in their control. They don't outsource this. Then once it is done, we can be part of the outbound logistics also. Outbound logistics may be taking from the factories the finished goods to the retailers, and sometimes it can go from retailer to customers also. These are the primary things. And this inbound logistics and outbound, Obviously, they have given the trucks here, but it might go from different ways. It can be first a cargo, then it can be your own trucks, then it will go to the company, then you'll have your own smaller trucks. This time things will change. Many a times we are using more than one mode of transport. Maybe firstly it has been using ships when it comes to port, then we have our own vehicles going in their trucks, then once it is going for the business, after that we'll have another set of vehicles going in. So most of the companies in the logistics, if you talk about DHL, if you talk about UPS, all of this have multiple level of assets. They have their, even UPS have their own cargos, then they have their own trucks, then they have their own fleet of different vehicles, depending on their own needs and requirements. Okay, so we'll just see quickly what is inbound, what is internal, what is outbound, just for more clarity. This is very important for us to know from the exam perspective also, because if we are creating value for the business, we should understand what we can do or what we can improve in inbound logistics, then how we can assist maybe in internal logistics, and obviously how we can also add value on the last mile, that is outbound logistics. The biggest problem of this industry is outbound logistics when they go to the customer. No doubt, a lot of bigger logistic companies have outsourced their last mile, because going to their customer's home can be very difficult, especially for the international companies. They are not very much aware of the route, so they want to take support of the local companies. We'll see that when we do industry analysis. All right, so inbound logistics focuses on the procurement of goods, that is receiving and checking goods. So basically receiving goods is part of the inbound logistic for the company, which may take the form of parts, materials, and finished products. Storing goods if necessary, updating inventory records. Sometimes it's just about storing, and sometimes they have to maintain their inventory records. Then internal logistics, usually it is done within the business, involves handling goods within the entity, excluding inbound and outbound logistics. So what it is, managing goods, maintaining inventory records, or maybe sometimes it is also converting this product into finished goods. So once the product is into finished goods, it goes to outbound logistics. So this involves processes associated with the movement of goods to customer. When we say customer, it can go sometime directly to customer, sometime via the retailers. This includes warehouse picking, packing, dispatching of the goods, recording of the goods, and so much more. One more concept is important now is reverse logistics. We'll see this here. Nowadays, a lot of companies are giving flexibility to the customers. They can take the product. If they don't like, they can return it back in 15 days or a month. Okay, or sometime if product is defective, you're not happy with it, that time also you can get a refund. So if you're getting a refund for the customer, but for the logistic company, it's a very big hassle for them. So outbound logistics is also include reverse logistics, whereby goods move from customer to the entity. That may be due to the return of defective goods or the recycling of products or packaging. So defective goods, or if they are not satisfied with the quality, or maybe any other reasons, they can return it. So obviously it will go to, from outbound logistics, it can go to internal, then internal it can go to inbound, and just the opposite way. The most important part in this industry is the communication. There should be effective and timely communication between the stakeholders. Each stage in the flow of goods depends upon the maintenance and communication of accurate information. Accurate information is very important. Let's say when the inbound logistics will be done, how much time it will take for internal logistics, when things will be ready for the outbound logistics, how much time it will take for us to deliver to the end user. And obviously nowadays the stakeholders want, the customer want that it should be able to track. They should know when and how it will be reached, by where it has already reached. So more transparency is expected. So no doubt, communication and accurate information is very important. The scale and complexity of logistics varies between entities. So obviously, if it is a nationalized company, it will be different. If it is a global company, it will be different. If it is done by government, it will be different. So the complexity will be different. And most of the company, as I said in the start, is very difficult for them to do end-to-end. At some part of them, they might be working in partnership with other businesses. Especially when they go into the new country, they might need a local partners for the last mile, depending on their size and the nature of the business. For example, a manufacturer such as Malter Motors has very different needs from a retailer such as Mud Dog Supermarkets. So here we are considering two scenarios. One is an automobile company and another is a supermarket. So as we can understand, both of them will have different needs. This automobile company will need a lot of machineries, they might need tires, they might need other things. And they might have a very big warehouse or manufacturing plant in one country that there you can do the inbound. But when you go for the outbound logistics, they might have to sell their products or give it to the retailer in different parts of the world. So both of them will be different challenge. Whereas if you compare this to supermarkets can have mix of perishable and non-perishable goods. So if it is perishable goods like vegetable, fruits, milk, sometimes they might do on their own and other things they might outsource. As we know, most of the supermarkets will not have their own product. They are just taking from the manufacturer and selling it as a retailer. So availability of the products is very important. And obviously nowadays they don't want to have very high inventory. So the inbound logistic will play a very key role for their industry. They want to reduce their working capital. They want to be a strong organization where the working capital is maintained, where there is no problem with the products availability. Some of them are already doing the online thing also. They're selling through retailers online. So for that also, we should be predicting what kind of inventory it is. So their big data and their expectation from us will also play an important role. All right. So we'll see this in detail in the next part. Okay, so that's it for today. As an introduction, we'll start with going in detail with the automobile companies and supermarket, how they do the logistics, what are the risks, and what we need to do. So just before closing today's videos, I like to tell you that free scene analysis will play a very important role here. We have to start analyzing risk from the start. We can do SWOT analysis and the requirements of stakeholder. As we discussed in the start, that every industry will have a different needs and requirement, but they all need logistics. Okay. So for getting in contact with us, please follow our page and you can log into our website and get more details. So that's it for today. Thank you.